My parents are very proud of me. I'm an Indian American, first generation U.S. citizen, the oldest member of my family. So there was obviously a lot of familial pressure to stay on track and go to college and do all that stuff. And that story is also a big part of what this album is, and just our experience in America, being the first ones here, almost as if it's like a brand new experience. And it took them a while to get used to it, and I still think that my grandmother doesn't completely understand it. But that's the duality of what we do. And at the end of the day, I feel like I'm able to give back to the community a little bit, to the East Indians who feel like they have to be doctors or whatever, and they can actually be musicians. So it's a part of it. When I left school, my parents were a bit shocked, but I always had an affair with music. It was always, and it's been in my family for a long time. My grandmother, who just passed, was a professional singer, and there was always this idea of music being replaced by the societal pressures. My grandmother wasn't able to pursue her career because of the time where they wanted her to be a housewife and get married and take care of the family and cook, and so she was very supportive. And so that's always been like a strange narrative in my family. So it was, they weren't not expecting it, but there were some roadblocks initially.
The song America kind of crystallized over the course of the past 5 years that we've had. We have this really unique perspective where we get to travel and meet people in a context where I think people are a little more disarmed and willing to talk to you about stuff that they might not talk to just any stranger about. Yeah, when we started, that was actually one of the songs that sort of opened the floodgates about what we wanted to talk about, our identity as immigrants in America, and it sort of allowed us to kind of take that thought further along while we were writing the record.
As a band, we've always been extremely democratic, and everything is equal say. We all write together, we bring different things to the table, and especially on this record, we've been able to flip-flop a little bit and change roles. So everyone has the same vested interest. And when you write something like 30 songs for an album, there is a tough decision. I think for the most part, we're on the same page, and it's not necessarily about maybe pound for a pound what a song's quality is by itself, but how it lives in an album in that context, be it thematically or just how the arc of the story and the narrative that we want to portray goes. And so we had to make a few tough decisions, but maybe those songs will crop up into B-sides or something later. But I feel like most musicians get bored of their music very quickly and want to continue to write new music. So we'll find a place for it, maybe some unreleased stuff later on.
As far as playing, the songs that kind of put us in this position and gave us the opportunity to do this. Right now, we're kind of in the midst of figuring out the balance of how many new songs to play, how many songs from the first record, how many songs from the second record, and it's an issue we've never had to deal with, and it's actually a lot of fun because now we get to sort of pick and choose different songs from whichever record, depending on our mood, depending on the city, depending on the night.
We've been playing a little bit of cat and mouse with the fans. You want to lull them into this space where they're comfortable with anything, and they come there to want to be moved into a different place. And sometimes people are rigid and they want to hear what they want to hear, but if you do it in the right way, you can kind of lead them down the path that you want them to go. I think initially when we found out that Cough Syrup was going to live in a space like Glee, at first I think we were just flattered because we didn't expect that. And the great thing about music in general is that once you release it, you're sharing it with other people and they can take their own meaning from it. And I think it gave a lot more meaning to the song for me, actually, when they give it back to you and you almost get these different layers. And I think we were a little unsure at first how it would work, but they met up with us and they told us how it was going to portray a really important part of the scene, and it's something that we strongly believed in, against bullying and obviously equal rights for any sexual preference or any lifestyle. And so that was something that was important to us, and so we figured it was something worth putting out in the world. I guess I have a weird thing with a cappella music. It's it can be done so tastefully. The voice in itself is such a great instrument, and beyond just the melody can be the actual tone itself can be something powerful. So when it's done well, it's done well. And so, yeah, I guess I do appreciate that. He has a theater background too, a little bit, so I guess maybe.
I was all good with it. Yeah. They did a great job too. I was really blown away with how tastefully it was done, and yeah, very powerful. Hey, I'm Francois.
I'm Samir. We're part of Young the Giant. We're here at the Austin City Limits Music Festival.
And you're watching Grammy Pro.